How's it going, everyone? Can you all hear me? So, okay. Let's get started with our second semester. Yay, yay, school. This is part two of Yay School because who doesn't love school? I'm glad that I'm the first class that you have to endure this week. That's no pressure on me at all. Let's try to start off this year with a bang. Okay. I feel like there's so much pressure on me right now, just to make you all feel like school is super fun again. But don't worry, I'm gonna do my best. So we'll get started with today. So instead of starting with instruction, because I feel like that would be brutal for everybody, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna first start off with some questions I want you to answer. So I'm looking for you to answer three questions here. I have them in bold here. I want you can answer any or all of them in the Zoom chat, whatever one you feel comfortable with. What I'm really curious to know about is first off, what is the dumbest thing you did over break? What is the coolest thing you did over break? And then what did you finally do that you were putting off forever? So I'm going to share with you what the dumbest thing I did over break. So the dumbest thing I did over break was overnight. I have a water bottle like this, sort of, and then I tipped it over on accident before I went to bed. And the problem is, I have one of those water bottles at home where it's like it's supposed to cap's supposed to close, but like it wasn't closed. So it just like spilled water all over my mouse. And then so when I woke up and I like looked at the bottom of my mouse, it was like completely wet and it was like wasn't working. And so I was like, oh, I don't know why it's working. And it's like, oh, it's completely wet. So instead of, usually when you drop your phone in like the toilet or whatever, you're supposed to stick it in rice or whatever, or at least try to dry it out. What I instead did was I kept turning it on and off because I was like, maybe this will fix it. The moral of the story is that doesn't fix it. And as a physics teacher, I should probably know better that water and electricity especially don't mix. But that was pretty dumb, and I ruined a pretty nice mouse because of that. That was one thing, a dumb thing I did over break. What is the coolest thing I did over break? One of the coolest things I did over break was I installed the McDonald's app for the first time. I think this was during finals week actually, but I installed the McDonald's because I heard that they were doing like these like holiday promotions and stuff. And so there were hella deals on McDonald's and stuff. So I got I got my $1 fries and like my half price McFlurry, which is really good. So now I'm like pretty hooked on McDonald's again, on Mickey D's. So that's one cool thing I did over break. I also went on. I also got on. I also got a water cooler for my computer off of some dude off of Craigslist. It's good to know that Craigslist is still bumping. And then what did you finally do that I've been putting out for forever? So there's one thing I had to do. So I had to get maintenance on my car because it's like, the little light was on the little message was on for forever. So I had to do that. I had to get new tires too. I had to do a bunch of boring teacher stuff. And then I also listened to T Swift's new album, both albums actually, which I didn't do. But I actually did listen to the entirety of both of them. So those are some things I did over break that were very interesting. So you can take a few minutes, and I'm very curious to see what you all did. So whenever you're ready, just put some of the cool, dumb, and things that you've been putting up for in the Zoom chat. Let's see if we can get some interesting stories here. Something boring or something dumb, something cool, and then something that you've been putting up forever. And then put your anything you're interested in sharing. What mouse was it? Ooh, what mouse was it? It was a Logitech G900 Chaos Spectrum. It's a really nice one. It's wireless. It's ambidextrous. It's programmable, so it's super nice. And it's also way too expensive to spill water on. So it was a Logitech G900 Chaos Spectrum. Um, yeah. Um, if you have any questions for me, I'm also happy to answer them. But let's see if we can get some responses in the Zoom chat here. Let's see if we can get some dumb things you did. Or you can actually, it might actually be better. Why don't we take a few minutes? Why don't we share it actually in our Discord groups, and I'll listen in. And then we'll see if anyone has any interesting stories they want to share. Well, let's do that instead, actually. So why don't we take a few minutes to share with your Discord groups something cool, dumb, and something you've been putting out forever, and then we'll come back in a few minutes and then move on. So yeah, let's do that right now. Instead, we'll share it within our table groups. So something dumb, something cool, and then something that you've been doing that you've been putting out forever. Okay, so I was able to sit in one group. We have a few different responses here. If you feel comfortable doing so, I would love it for you to share in the Zoom chat with everybody. But if you don't feel comfortable, that's also okay too. Not everyone has something dumb that they did, which is good. Okay, so let's see. We have a few responses so here. Okay, Nolan, the dumbest thing you did was waste all of your time watching his YouTube. So I don't consider that dumb. I consider that a part of life nowadays. So I don't know if that can, because the problem is if I say that that's a dumb thing to do, if I agree with you, then I am saying that I'm dumb. And I'm too way too egotistical to say that I'm ever dumb. So no. Wasting your time watching a YouTube, that's not true. That's very cool. The coolest thing you did was probably spend a lot of time with your friends online. Oh, good for you. You have friends. Not that I can't say the same for myself. I tried, but my friends apparently had jobs and apparently had stuff to do over winter break. Um, Anyways, I'm not upset about that at all. And the last thing, I am still putting off. Excellent. You always want to be procrastinating because otherwise you will never have any sort of panic in your entire life. So good for you. Good for you, Nolan. It sounds very fun. Kai didn't do anything dumb. Okay. Good for you, Kai. That's actually a good thing. That's actually a good thing. You don't you shouldn't intentionally try to do something dumb. So good for you. You downloaded Hades and played 17 hours in 3 days. That's actually very impressive. That's actually very impressive. So good for you, Kai. Though I would actually say only 17 hours. It's a little low. But no, good for you. Good for you, Kai. And then you started reading again, The Way of Kings. I should start reading again too. So good for you. Okay, so there were some other things that I learned from other people. So but okay, so thank you all for sharing the fun things and cool things and I don't know, the dumb things you did. We will move on to we'll move on to some other stuff before we start any new stuff. So the first thing I want to do is I sort of want to give us a chance to recap last semester. So overall, the first thing I want to say is that everyone did really well. In fact, if anything, I think everyone did maybe even too well. That's actually like, is that an issue? I don't know. One of my college professors, he does, or a lot of your college professors, what they will do is they'll take pride in saying how poorly everyone does. They'll be saying like the class average is only a 40%, and they'll be really proud of that. And then and it's like a mark of pride for them to like not give people good grades. So unfortunately, everyone did really well. So maybe I need to like, channel my inner college professor and just start like making the class average 40% and just like really flunking everyone's self-esteem. But for now, I'm very happy. Actually, everyone did very well. So maybe even too well. Yeah. So actually, another thing I want to say is that everyone was actually did a lot of really good work. And there was a little bit too much last minute, but in the end, like what matters is the fact that everyone what matters is that everyone is doing well. So I'm actually very impressed. Everyone was able to get everything in at the very end. But my goal this year is let's try to see if we can get a little bit of that last minute stuff a little bit earlier. So, maybe not quite as much last minute brilliance. Let's try to keep it more consistent. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do this year is I'm going to be trying to, get everyone to be a little bit more consistent with your brilliance. So that way we don't have as much last minute panic, because the last minute panic is one of the things that it's true is that, like your best essays or whatever come when it's like an hour before it's due. That kind of is true. But at the same time, let's see if we can have that brilliance more consistent. So we're being working through that. So another thing I want to say is that I actually like how our group work is going. I actually think it's very promising. It's very imperfect though, as you know. There's a lot of imperfections with group work in general, in person and over Zoom. Over Zoom, as you know, is way worse for group work. So I'm going to be trying to continue group work into this semester. But it's going to be I'm going to be trying to improve it. But one thing I want to say is that let me know if you would prefer to work individually. That's okay. I think at this point, I think something I've realized that it's if someone I think it's just if I think at this point it's just you should let me know what your preference is. I think that If you want to work individually, it might be better for you. You might feel like it's better for you, or you might feel like, and so just let me know. Or if you feel like you want to meet someone new, or if you want to switch group or something, you can let me know as well. Other than that, I sort of like how things were going. If you feel like you disagree, you can let me know as well. But we're going to try to keep continuing group work. I think people are learning better in groups. That's my experience with groups, anyways. Um, so another thing is I'm going to go with another thing I'm going to talk about is this quote from one of my AP Econ teachers. Oh my god! So I think this is hilarious because he was one of those teachers who first of all he wasn't my AP Econ teacher. Actually, he was an AP teacher that other people had. I had two different ones actually. Um, but he was one of those people who was like, they're in their 70s and 80s, they're about to retire, they have tenure. So it's like at that point, they're let's just say they're not doing a whole lot. And so at one of his district, not district meetings, but like instructional meetings or something, but like the first thing he says to the group is like, the less I teach, the more they learn, which I think is absolutely hilarious. But anyways, I feel like that was actually something I did a little bit last semester. I know a lot of super frustrating for a lot of people because I would like not tell you how to do things. Or I will not give you any idea. A little, yes, I know you're very frustrated with me. That's okay. So that's the thing is what I want to say is that's the point. The point is for you to start to develop that independent thinking. So I will be continuing this process through this year, and in fact, if anything, I will be taking it to another extreme. But don't worry, don't panic yet. The panic comes later. But we'll talk about that in a second. But overall, I actually like how people responded to the challenge. I actually think that I actually think people did really well with it. I actually genuinely think so. I think it's hard to get started. But once you get in the process of like, I'm going to try something and I'm going to make an attempt and then I'm going to ask questions. I think people, once people got into that habit, I think it actually worked really well. So I'm very happy with that. That's what I want to say is the key to success as a TLDR, too long, didn't read. The key to success in this class is you start somewhere, you make an attempt at a solution, and then you ask questions. And I really want to say that I really don't care about it being right or wrong. I really like seeing. I think everyone's always like, is this right or is this wrong? Well, what I really want to see, I just want to see people make an attempt. I like seeing people try their ideas out. So that's as a recap of last semester. And yeah. Um, some new things this semester. We're gonna be doing a little bit some new stuff. I think most things will be mostly the same, but I'm gonna try to phase in some new stuff. So the first thing I want to do is let's talk about asking for help. So for those of you who like asking questions, I'm actually I'm planning on being even less helpful than last semester. What I'm planning on doing first off is what I'm thinking about doing is I'm instead going to redirect your questions to other groups who I feel like they can attempt to answer your question. I think one of the reasons why I want to do this is because I think first off, like one thing that is I think can be challenging for a lot of people. Sometimes just as a teacher is, a lot of people have a lot of questions and stuff. And so I won't be able to get into everyone's in time. So I think one of the reasons, the benefits of doing this is that if I can't answer your question because of timing, you all have another chance to get answers from someone else or ideas from other people. Another reason why I want to do this is because I think when you explain stuff to other people or when you attempt to, you learn in the process as well, and it reinforces your own understanding. And you also get a chance to hear other people's perspectives on things and see how they're working through it. And so, so that's one thing I plan on doing is I'm planning on, having if you can't get an answer within your own group, I'm going to try to redirect questions to other groups, and I'll be like, you're tripping. No, I'm not. I'm planning on doing this. I think one thing I think I will do this. I'm not even, I think I did this a little bit last semester, but I 100% will do this. And so you're going to complain, but that's okay. I like complaining. So I will make other people answer your questions, but that's okay. Because at the very least, you can think of it, they're going to be a lot less annoying than I am about it. They'll actually tell you how they did things versus me just being like, what do you think? So you can think of it as actually being a bonus for you. And of course, if you feel like if you feel like if you feel like hey, I still feel like I don't quite get it, then I'll of course answer your question. But I'll be doing that a little bit more this year as well. Another thing that I'm going to start doing this semester is I'm going to start not making you. I feel like making you so strong. I'm going to start teaching you or showing you how you can debug your own answers and questions. So important part of learning. So debug is a programming word, but it applies to anything really. So an important part of becoming an independent problem solver is you learn the ability to start on your own, and then you learn the ability to find your own mistakes, answer your own questions, and then keep going on from there. That's why it's called independent problem solving. And so last semester where we started doing a lot of this, I'm going to learn how to start on my own. And now this semester, we're going to keep doing that, but we're also going to do a little bit of, I'm going to find my own mistakes. And so that's something that is, we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing a little bit this semester. So I'm going to be trying doing that again. We'll see how this goes. Yeah. So that's for the post for those of you who like asking questions. Now, for those of you who are actually, this is actually me. The second one's for me. So I never ask questions because I'm like, and the problem with, so one of my biggest flaws in life is I'm really bad at asking questions. Like if you don't believe, like legitimately, like if you're the type of person who doesn't ask questions, I guarantee you I'm worse at it. Like I'm the type of person who will like wander through a store for 2 hours looking for something rather than ask an employee to, tell me where something is. So that's like the kind of person I am. So for those of you who are like me and you don't ask questions, and you're always like, I'm good, that's okay, but I'm gonna start making you ask me some questions, even if you feel like you don't have any. So I think this is good because it's good to get into a habit of asking questions, and asking for help if you need to. So that's what I'm gonna be doing as well. So everyone is going to be very frustrated with me, and that is what I like. Okay. So that's one thing I'm sort of doing new this semester. Not really new, but it's like an evolution of what we did last semester. Another thing we'll be doing is I think last semester I didn't really do any participation stuff, and that's okay. I honestly didn't really want to bother. This semester I think what I want to do is I have a weekly participation survey that I'm going to be using for participation on asynchronous day. It should take you it should take you no more than 3 or 4 minutes. The reason why I want to do this is that I want to sort of try to keep everyone on track throughout the semester. So in the survey itself, you'll sort of you'll sort of get a chance to let me know how things are going, so you get a chance to say I don't get this, I do get this, I am a little behind, I'm on top of things. So it helps me like see where everyone is, and it helps me see if there's anyone that or anybody that needs a little bit of that has a lot of questions that needs to be answered. So I think this is what I'm doing this semester for asynchronous participation. It'll be due every Wednesday, and it'll be the same link. It's on Canvas right now. It's just called, I think it's called just the weekly participation survey. And it'll just be the same thing every time. And so you can also let me know if there's anything else going on. There's also a spot in there for you to talk about how how the group is coming along too, in terms of like how much are you participating in your group, how much are other people participating in your group, because I also want to sort of see how groups are working together as well. So that's it. That'll be sort of like let me know how things are going, and it'll be very helpful for me and for everyone to sort of do that. So we'll be doing that every Wednesday as well. Should take you no more than like 3 minutes, and it's gonna be the same questions every time. So it'll be a little mundane, but it is what it is. So that's what we'll be doing. That will be one thing that's new, and that will be every Wednesday. Okay. Another thing I'll be doing as well is because I know a lot of everyone is a little bit can be very frustrated with me in general. So what I'm going to be doing is before we start into like the bigger projects, what I'm going to be doing is we're also going to be doing like easier intro assignments. And they're basically like, I guess like they're sort of like worksheets, or they're sort of like they're more of like, okay, this is like these are very like these are sort of like they're sort of like problems assignments that give you a basic idea of how to do problems, so that way you build a little bit of confidence doing things. And so in the way that these are going to be graded is that you can earn up to a approaching proficiency for each standard, so basically like up to a 2. And then the bigger projects will cover the same so as as you may or may not know, so the way I've graded things is there are very certain concepts, very certain standards that I'm grading you on, and I basically grade you on how well you understand them. And so for these intro assignments, like you can earn up to an approaching proficiency, which is basically saying, okay, you sort of know what's going on. And so Whereas the bigger projects, you can they're going to cover the same standards, but you can earn up to a mastery for each standard, which is 4 points. So these bigger projects are unchanged from last semester. I'm just basically adding in these intro assignments that are like easier, gives everyone an idea of what to do, gives everyone a starting point, and also because you do it, it'll be much easier, and you'll be able to at least get a 2 on the standard, which means that if you're feeling overwhelmed, you can be lost, you'll be able to show that you understand some of the standard. So basically, it's like a graded worksheet or something. That's gonna be a lot easier. And then I'll also give you more help on those as well. So as a way of like getting you going. So we'll be doing that a lot more this semester. Be more of a that way you don't that way everyone is happy and everyone feels confident about doing things. Um, I'm also going to be changing up sort of how the units go as well. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to do a little bit more of a we're going to do a little bit more build up, I think, before the project, because I think that that'll be helpful. So we'll do some conceptual stuff. We'll do some activities to help you sort of get a grasp of the concepts. We'll do some more like introductory problems and assignments and stuff like that, and then we'll move on to the bigger one. So that way you get a little bit more of your. That way you'll get a little bit more. Um, that way you'll get a little bit more uh, idea of how to do things. I'm also one thing I also what I also plan on doing is I think the warm-ups are helpful, but what I want to do in terms of the warm-ups, I want to not only just tell you how to do it, but I also want to show you how I think it. So like like instead of just saying okay you do this, I want to show you like what I'm thinking. So like okay, I'm looking at this problem, I'm recognizing that this is two-dimensional, so I need to, and then so give you really show you my thought process, so that way you actually really understand of what I'm thinking. So that way to give you a better grasp on things before I throw you into the fire and let you, suffer through the project. So that's what I'm planning on doing. So that way, before you start complaining about me and how I never teach you anything, that's what I'm going to be doing. So that way, give you more of a foundation to work on, and then we'll go into the harder stuff. So that should hopefully alleviate all of your frustrations with me. And that. So those are pretty much the three main things that's new this semester. Everything else will pretty much be the same. So the good things will stay the same, and anything that's bad that you didn't like, I will be trying to improve on that as well. Before we move on to our instruction for today, which we won't do a lot of, what I also want to do is first give you a chance to first talk with your groups, and I want you to spend some time talking about the things that you liked last semester. So these are pros and cons. What I want to spend some time, I want you to in your groups brainstorm some ideas of things that went well in all of your classes, in this class and all of your classes. So what are the things that you really liked or things that you went well? And I also want you to talk about things that didn't go so well or things you want changed or implemented, again, across this class or other classes as well. So, and I'll try to take a note of everyone's feedback and try to incorporate it for next semester. So to give you a chance to, okay, what are the things you did well? What are the things you want changed? And then I'll talk, and then I will try to sum up everything, and then I will try to figure out how to incorporate it for this semester. So that's what I'm doing right now. We'll take as much time as we need, but at least for the next 10 or 20 minutes, let's see if we can come up with some pros and cons. If you say that this class is perfect and you never want anything changed, that is, I mean, that's okay. That's good for my self-esteem, but I don't expect any of that as well. Okay, so let's take maybe 10 or 20 minutes for you to talk with your groups, figure out what are some things that you that went well in all of your classes and things that you want changed. I'm going to take everyone's feedback, and then I'm going to try to figure out how I want to incorporate it for this semester. So yeah, Okay, so let's see. We have 12 minutes left. 11 minutes left. I don't think it makes sense for us to start instruction today. So what we'll do is, let's see, I had this graphic organizer due today, but it should be open due at the end of next period. So we'll start instruction for the next unit. So the next unit we're doing is gonna be forces in motion. We'll do that next on Thursday, on Thursday and Friday. So we'll do that then. For the end of class today, what you can do is just um, and because we haven't started anything, the survey doesn't make any sense either. So yeah, since we don't have anything else planned for today that makes sense to do, you can just leave early if you want. So I'll just let you go early. If you want to, yeah. So I guess you're all free to go if you want to leave early. If you want to, yeah. Unless you want to chat with me, in which case you're welcome to do so. Why don't we do something? That's so mean. That's so mean. But yes, you're all free to go if you want. If you want to stay and chat, that's also, I'd love to chat as well.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll start the slides and activities. We'll start that on Thursday. Yeah, we
Thank
don't
you,
have
Mr.
time.
Hu.
Thanks, Mr.
Yeah,
Hu.
thank you. Bye.
So do we have to do
Thank
the
you.
survey on Wednesday then? Or no?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. It doesn't make sense to do it because we haven't started doing anything yet.
Right.
So I'll make an announcement for it.
Okay, thank you.
Adios.
Farewell.
Bye.
Farewell.
Thank you, Mr. Hu. Bye.
Thank you.
Did you try the jam, Mr. Hu?
Did I what?
Try the jam.
Try the jam? What? Oh, I haven't. I will. I definitely will. I definitely will soon. I need the jam because I eat a lot of PB and J's. So when I over winter break, I didn't eat any. But during the year, this year,
Oh.
I definitely will. So I will. I will.
Okay,
Trust me,
okay.
I will. I promise.
Let me
you.
know. Let me know what you think.
I promise you from the deepest bottom of my heart, I 100% will. I haven't eaten any PB and J's in like 2 weeks. So that's why.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Finally doing something right. That's so mean.
My goal is just to get you to start laughing in class and completely like lose track of what you're trying to say.
No, I'm just like reading like someone like I'll go through the class and then you'll just like roast me or something.